What's dangerous is when the universe pick you and you put on the magic glasses. There's rules that go with them. You can never take them off. You never see things as they're supposed to be. You see things as they are. And you can never force nobody else to wear them.
I think while I lie awake and contemplate tonight are wearing me out. Well, maybe tomorrow the world will wake and get it right, but I have my doubts, yeah. During the day, well, I design machines of war that scream through the sky. 'Cause I, for one, I like to go to bed free at night under these stars and stripes. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. Yes, I have my doubts, but they'll wind you up and pull the cord until you're spun right out. And I don't understand. Roll the dice and raise the price to feed the machine's mouth. Call it the progress of man. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. I have my doubts, so I'll drink my stuff and raise some hell and shoot my guns to the end of my time. You can have the booze and go to hell and take the guns, but I know they won't be mine. We're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. Yes, I have my doubts. So we're all messed up and out of touch. Let's text someone who's in the other room. So don't wonder why we don't say hi or know anyone. I might as well move to the moon. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. Well, the things I think while I lie awake and contemplate at night are wearing me out.
Good evening. Hope everyone is alright. Man, I tell ya. there are things that I foresee. And boy, I think there's going to be a pretty big shakeup in the YouTube world soon enough. Gonna be interesting. I'll just say that. It's gonna be interesting. You can now, you can only keep, now how do I word this? I'll just say you can only keep a story going for so long before the more and more you talk about that story, the cracks are going to open up. And I'm not going to say exactly who, but there's a channel on YouTube that I'm pretty sure I got right when I called it out the first time, which has been a long time ago. And let's just say that the tales are getting a little bit too tall for them to handle. And so it is interesting, though, and humorous, trying to watch them weave in and out of questions. So, rather interesting. I'm not going to say who, but just keep an eye. I think many jaws are going to drop, because I know how the Father is. I've kind of been there one time already. And I'll tell you what, when you learn that lesson, you don't ever damn forget it. I'll guarantee that. You don't ever forget that one. I don't find glee or glory or anything like that in negative things. But I do find glee and glory in knowing that somebody that's been so actively in slapping the Father in the face is about to find out just how real the Father is. Like I said, I've been there. It's not fun. Not fun. And that's why I am the man I am today. I am unapologetically honest and upfront and direct. And I'm going to speak my mind. My yes means yes. My no means no. It is what it is. I learned that lesson. It's no fun. It took me 10 years to get the little distance that I have at this point. And when I say that, I'm not complaining, because I say little distance, but in reality, there's two different realities here. In reality, looking at all of the hurdles that I had to cross to get here, not so bad. But if you would have put me in that same situation, say, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago, when I was physically capable, it wouldn't have been nearly the bump in the road that it's been. So there's a myriad of things myriad of hurdles, I should say, that I had to navigate to get where I am today. And I could have avoided all of that if I would have been honest with the Father and just minded my P's and Q's. It is what it is. Father, I think, uses people like me because we reach a point in our life where we're just like, here, I surrender. Stop me from screwing up. And that is the point that I had reached 10 years ago. And ever since then, it's been, okay, be straight, be forward. I'm not involved in any of the nonsense that I was involved in before at all, not even a little bit. And Yeah, there was a lot of things. There was a lot of things. I wasn't faithful in my marriage, which wasn't hidden. Not that that changes anything. That's just how honest I am. I mean, that may sound strange, but there is a such thing as being honest, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're being good. Anyway, I did a lot of screwed up stuff. I definitely wasn't glorifying the Father. So, Lancet 3 drones are the slingshot drones I was on about the other day. Oh, hang on. Lancet 3 drone. Copy, Roger. Paste and search. Okay, now I know what you're talking about. And I just Googled it. And yeah, that ain't no DJI, yo. Definitely not a DJI. Get this in the right window here. There we go. This would, not now. This would be the animal that he speaks of. So, thank you. Thank you for that clarification. So, that's a Lancet 3 drone. And that's what was taken out the Bradleys. Wow. It looks kind of capable. I do have goodies for you tonight. I actually have a song that I ran across today. And NFX brother, and pardon if I mispronounce your name, don't gank me, yo. The reason why I say that is if you look at the link that I have in the description to this song, you will find out that you will be waiting for several hours to hear this song. However, this song was at somewhere else on the interwebs, and I nabbed it, and so I'm going to give you a preview. I heard it, and I'm like, holy cow. So, I'm just going to play this, and you can crank it up if you please. I love it. I love this song. Anyway, this is my personal, it doesn't have to be yours. This is my personal SHTF song.
In their life, you can see it in their eyes. They're changing at night underneath the dark skies, forced to become something darker inside. You can feel the switch, feel the shift in the tide. They keep desiring something that's more inspiring. Their brains rewiring, old thoughts they start aspiring. They're never tiring, no, now they feel the fight in them. They feel the fire sweep take over entirely. They feel it growing and showing the feelings. They keep overflowing, always stoking the fire. Adrenaline is overloading, hit the mat like a fighter. They never let up, never throwing, giving to their desires. No, they keep working on their focus. They feel the temperature rise, now there is no place to hide. You better dig deep inside and find anything, everything that you could ever need. Every breath that you breathe, dedicated to believe. Streets that they called home, not for the weak, left out in the cold. Watched all the sheep do what they're told. Sure they would feast one day on their bones. On to the streets that they called home, not for the weak, left out in the cold. Watched all the sheep do what they're told. Sure they would feast one day on their bones. They took the form of a beast. They took the form of a beast. to do for now? Straight beast underneath what you see. They gon' eat anything, everything, make them bleed, cut them deep. A villain origin story, tangled with glory, now it's looking stormy. Off in the distance, hear the roaring, thunder pouring, there ain't no ignoring. What they called home, not for the weak, left out in the cold. Watched all the sheep, do what they're told. Swore they would feast one day on their bones. On to the streets, what they called home, not for the weak, left out in the cold. Watched all the sheep, do what they're told. Swore they would feast one day on their bones. They took the form of a beast. 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 They took the form of a beast.
I freaking love that song. Anyway, I actually messed with that song. I probably listened to it, 5-6 times, just one time after another, and because I was trying to get the bass to calm down a little bit, because that guy, I think what he does when he makes content, I think he drives the bass up real high so that people that are listening, like on phones and tablets and stuff, have a good sound coming out of their phones and tablets. However, not everybody listens to this music with a phone or a tablet. I would never. and so, unfortunately, the bass, and it's every one of his songs, the bass bleeds over into the mids and the highs and distorts the mids and the highs out. So that's a shame, though, because I mean he's got, and everything's so crystal clear. It's just he needs to pull that bass down just a little bit. That kind of stuff needs to be set by the person that's playing the music. You know what I mean? You have to give them something quality enough, something rich and full and deep enough to be able to pull sound out of. But if you go putting that sound in, it's going to cause people that have high fidelity systems to have problems tweaking it just right to sound good. So yeah, I listened to that over and over and over today, sitting there. I've got my my mixers actually all whacked out. As far as the little EQ it's got, that's way off from where I normally have it. So after the show, I'll be sitting there playing with it again and getting it back to where I normally have it. But I wanted to try to bring that out the best I could to you guys, because I don't know, I like it. Like you said, the bass, when that bass hits, it hits, and it's, I don't know, I like it. I like music like that. I like music that has drive, that has motivation, that has purpose. And that fits that bill. Most music I listen to needs to have a purpose. There's very, very little music that I actually listen to that really doesn't fit a purpose. That doesn't have an agenda, if you will. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I loved Rage Against the Machine. Now they're, I don't know what you call them now, but they're raging with the machine, I can tell you that. But their old stuff, man, I'll tell you what, I've got that put back on all my mobile devices and all that. I've actually got a folder that if shit gets real, and I have the opportunity to listen to a little bit while shit's real, I'm taking that folder with me. May sound strange, but I don't know how to word it. It's not somewhere I haven't been before. So I'll just say that. I've used it for therapeutic value, and I'll leave it at that. You know, crazy things. There's sometimes there's reasons people know a fair amount, and unfortunately, the process of learning that stuff can sometimes be very ugly. So, anyway, I know, kind of dark thoughts, at least for me, because I've got memories and stuff. But anyhow, little bit of craziness in the news today. When I say craziness, mostly I mean, well, some of it just in a flat-out ironic manner. And we're actually going to start out that way tonight. I've got a fair amount of tabs open. Let me see here. 7 tabs open. Like I've been saying, and I will continue to say, keep getting ready. I'm not trying to fearmonger anybody. I'm not saying tomorrow this is going to happen. Nah. I don't know when it's going to happen, and nobody does. But it's coming, and I think that there's a whole hell of a lot of us that can at least agree to that. It is coming. The different interactions between nations right now, not only in and around the Ukraine conflict, but also North Korea is getting a bit pissed off. We'll be covering that. Of course, the recession isn't bouncing, and, you know, the only thing that needs to be bouncing is this old bat that's in the frickin' position she's in, because I don't know. Because she needs to go, that's why. Anywho, we'll be covering that as well. I guess we can hop right on into it anyway. I don't have really much. Did some more flying today. We're going to work with tweaking a little bit, but I'm telling you, that is it's just stupid insane. What I'm able to do now, simply from using a different program to connect, that's just insane. Let me explain why I think it's so wild. Is because when I use the stock software that comes with the device, I'm getting something. I use it with the stock software. I use this $70 freaking cable to connect the headset to my computer. Why? Because they say you gotta have the damn $70 cable to connect your headset to the computer, or else you can't transfer enough data fast enough, and you're gonna get laggy and have a lot of latency and stuff like that in your headset. Roger that. Call me the clown. They got the $70 cable. Well, I can say personally that if I didn't use the cable and just connected with the regular software over my router, it wasn't as good as being connected with the cable. However, when I use this other software, this virtual desktop software, it's wireless. It's only wireless. And it's just a million times better. So anybody that messes with Quest 2, and I don't know what all headsets it's good for, but virtual desktop is a must. An absolute must, especially if you do a lot of high-end graphics type of gaming or anything like that, which I really don't. Flight Sim's it for me. But I cannot get over. I was in an F-18 today over L.A. I like to fly around L.A. And it's hard to fly in places like LA and New York City and stuff like that as far as capability of your machine, because it's such a not only a populated area with buildings and all that stuff, but also there's a lot of people that fly in and out of there, multiplayer, right? So you've got tons of people in and out of there, and so it causes your computer to work harder. Well, normally, I should say before, I would be my video feed would be kind of jittery because my computer's not that much of a badass. And not anymore. Not anymore. And it is just insane. I've actually got my graphics turned up higher than I ever imagined I'd be able to turn them up, and it's smooth as butter. So I'll be doing some video stuff here as soon as I get everything worked out. And then, like I say, look forward to the VR newscast that, if I can manage to get it all going, I'll probably be doing that on Friday sometime afternoon, I would say. I don't know. Who knows? Could wind up be morning. I don't know. I'll have to look at it. But it's going to be really, really cool. And I'll remind those that don't have VR headsets, if you want to participate, you can too. All you have to do is sign up an account with, it's a part of Facebook, essentially. It's Meta. What's it called? Meta Horizon World's Workrooms. That's what it's called. So if somebody wants to get the jump on it, just sign up an account at Meta Horizon World's Workrooms. It's the workrooms that we'll be using. So, as far as I know, it's going to be a for sure thing. I actually just joined the group today. I will be, hopefully, I got a message to the guy, hopefully attending a meeting, I think this Friday, to talk to them about this workroom software and how I can better utilize it and stuff like that. So I'm going to do my best. I don't know of anybody out there doing news in VR. And now I've never Googled it either, so there is that. Hang on. I have to Google it now. Here, I'll Google through it with you. Let me come over here. Because, I've not heard of it, but I've not looked for it either. I'll put in world news in VR because ABC virtual reality news stories. Really? Road to VR. Okay, that's just about virtual, news about virtual reality. So, and that's mostly probably what we're going to find here. Yeah. Not really going to be as far as like news done in virtual reality. So, let's see. I mean, they're going to have some news stories and stuff I see popping up, but that's it. That's it. And I don't see anything. Yeah, see, you can see some cool stuff there, but they're not actually doing like a live broadcast in the news. Now, there's a 360 video of a marijuana harvest in North Carolina or California. I'm not saying anything, but I'm just going to sneak that page off to the side, and somebody's going to be checking out that. Anywho. Anyway, so as far as I know, I guess I may be the first cat doing that. So, that'd be awesome. I just thought it would be cool. And then there's a lot of other stuff, too, that we can incorporate with it and all that. I just think it's really cool. I'll have a whiteboard. I'll have, I'll be able to put screens up for you. But that's not going to be the regular everyday newscast. That's just going to be kind of an extra thing. And like I say, anybody can participate with their regular internet browser. You don't have to have a VR headset. Alright. Let me look real quick, because my phone got real stupid on me a moment ago. Oh, gosh. Let's see, what's this say? From AP News, humanity has transformed Earth so dramatically that scientists are recommending the mark of a new geologic epoch, the Anthropocene. I believe it's Anthropocene? Anthropocene, maybe? Hell if I know, but it sounds scary. Which is the whole intent. Huh. So yeah. Trying to think if there's anything else. I can't think of anything else. Other than I did make the community post today because it kind of mimics. God said I need an F-22. So I expect everybody to get me an F-22 because God said I need an F-22. Hey, it works for the bakers. Others are trying it here. God wants me to have an F-22. And if you can somehow deliver on that and, get past all the whole security clearance thing and the fact that we're not even supposed to see what the damn screens look like, I'll know it came from God, right? What I'm not going to do is start wearing a bunch of makeup and big eyelashes like Tammy Faye, because anyway, I'm going to get to the news, or else I'm just going to get more ludicrous. Alright. That's how I am. I'm that snowball rolling downhill. So sometimes you just got to put a blasting cap in an ass and cause an avalanche to stop the snowball from being able to get bigger. That makes sense? It made sense to me. Is that bad? Putin issues warning about U.S. banking system. The increase in Russian banking sector sovereignty and independence has been quite timely given the negative trends that are growing globally, specifically in the U.S. banking system, Russian President Vladimir Putin has stated. Putin was meeting with Andrei Kostin, the CEO of Russia's second largest bank, VTB, who assured the president that the country's banking sector was secure. Regarding anti-Russia sanctions, we have probably become somewhat immune because of them, and we have enhanced our sovereignty in this field, Kostin told the Russian leader in the Kremlin on Tuesday. Look at what is now happening in the United States. This is virtually the largest financial and banking crisis since 2008 and is already spreading to Europe, the top Russian banker noted, adding that sanctions against Russia are a double-edged sword. By imposing economic restrictions against Moscow, the West demolished the global trade system and caused an inflation surge, while its attempts to resolve this problem with the use of standard methods devalued bank assets, Kostin pointed out. The Russian banking sector is feeling quite safe, the VTB chief executive maintained, adding that he believes there won't be any problems, although we incurred certain losses last year when our property was simply taken away from us. I believe that Russia is almost entirely insulated from the nonsense that the U.S. is trying to impose on them. And he's 100% correct. It's because of those sanctions that inflation is so bad. Because, see, COVID's over, yo. And everybody had been allowed to go back to their normal activities quite a while back. So why isn't this country able to bounce back very quickly? Well, because of high inflation costs, because all the nonsense in the loan markets and all of that, the lending markets, And then the extra strains, there were so many extra strains put on not just our economy, but economies around the world as a result from this. Of course, over in the EU and the UE, they're having to pay a lot more for energy. That caused a lot of issues for them over there, and as far as energy is concerned. You know that here energy prices went through the roof as well last year. Now, I find that highly interesting, but it's not the only thing. The cost of fertilizers have gone through the roof. That means the cost of food is going to go higher. And that's happened. We've seen non-stop inflation happening in just about every market, and especially food. I think you're going to continue to see that. Why? There's so many people that want to fearmonger about the weather that we've had and all that stuff. We'll see. I'm almost numb to hearing the word shortages anymore because it's been fearmongered to death. I don't necessarily think we'll have shortages, but I do think we'll have an even higher increase in price. I think that's going to continue for probably a good amount of time. There's a lot of wheels. Well, first of all, there's a whole lot of wheels that make the world turn. And there's a lot of those wheels that are slowing down. Some of them have already stopped. Some are certainly going to stop. And others are just turning so slowly that it's not definitely secure, I would say. And that's where we're at. And the more of these wheels, and I'm sorry for the stupid analogy, but the more of these wheels that slow down, bringing back the snowball effect, it's going to slow down the rest of everything else. Because you have to understand, let's say you're working for a company, you're making decent money, you live a good life, you participate in a lot of things, you do a lot of things, you eat nice food, you go out to eat a lot, whatever. You got a gym membership, you live a life, you mortgage on your home, mortgage on a car, you know the deal. And let's say that job's gone. And there is no way you can replace that income that you had coming in. I mean, you're one step away from writing a country music song. So, it doesn't take much to cause a whole lot of individuals to go poor real quick. And that's what's happening. Not only did we not have a lot of industry open back up after the COVID nonsense, but we also, those businesses that were able to hang on or open back up haven't quite been doing as well. Not only are they not doing as much business on the front end, but their cost of operation on the back end has increased. And so the combination of the two is making it almost completely unprofitable for those businesses. That's where we're at. And it's still snowballing. We've still got quite a ways to go. I mean, I wouldn't say at this point it's just getting started. I think we're well into it. But I don't think we're halfway yet. We might be about a quarter of the way there. We ain't no halfway yet. And as this continues to snowball, it's going to gain speed as well. So, yeah, it's not good, And we've got a story like this that coming out of Russia, obviously. Hang on, coffee. But let's go see what the old hag has to say. It's the old hag I was talking about earlier. The one that needs to go. I mean, doesn't she kind of look like Living Dead? I mean, yeah. Anyway, that's the kind of stuff that haunts your dreams at night right there, yo. U.S. recession not off the table, says Treasury Chief. Well, she must be, just as demented as Biden is, because I'm pretty damn sure we've been there for a while. If you guys would quit changing the definitions of everything, maybe we could have a, idea of where we really are. U.S. Treasury Secretary has warned that I don't like her. I don't like any of them. Has warned that the economy is still at risk of recession while expressing concern over persistently high inflation. In an interview with the CBS show Face the Nation over the weekend, she said it's appropriate and normal for growth to be moderate. When asked about potential recession following the June's jobs report, which was weakest since December 2020, and showed that the U.S. economy was adding fewer jobs than in previous months, Yellen said it's not completely off the table. The U.S. economy added 209,000 jobs, most of which are probably useless, in June. Data released by the Labor Department last week showed the unemployment rate decreased slightly from 3.7% in May to 3.6% in June. I'm telling you, we are on one hell of a downward spiral. And part of it's our fault and the other part's not our fault. What do I mean by that? Well, everybody likes cheap crap, including me. I like cheap crap because I don't have a lot of money, and if I don't buy cheap crap, I'll have no crap at all. That's pretty much the long and short of it. But there was a problem with that. When we're buying cheap crap, we're probably not employing a whole lot of Americans in said cheap crap, because most of the time things that are made in the United States isn't cheap. So that's where I'm saying our blame is. I mean, I'm not saying that you or I could help but buy the cheap crap. I'm not saying that. But the fact that for whatever reason we're not buying American, and the biggest reason why a lot of people aren't buying American is because there's not a whole lot of American options, to be real honest. But you can damn well bet if you're going to buy American, you're going to have to pay more for it. There's a price for the state of living that the people in the United States expect. And you're not going to get that by paying cheap Chinese prices for U.S.-made goods. You're not going to have that type of a society. You're not going to have that type of an economy. You're going to have, what you see in China. You're going to have people that are basically doing slave labor, living at where they work, all kind of, places installing suicide nets and all that. Believe me, it's coming. It's coming. Believe me. They've already got the country pushing for it. And I've talked about this countless times. Every time you hear people raising a fit and saying, well, that person shouldn't make that much money, and it doesn't matter what damn job it is, that should be nobody's business. See, back in the day, when people had more common sense, there were certain things that people didn't discuss. It's just not something that was really, for most people, on the table for discussion. My dad is the one that really taught me about this. He gave the example religion. It's not something that, it's in his mindset, not something that you should really talk about, because you could wind up causing or having problems as a result. Well, the same with politics. You keep your politics to yourself. Don't go out and tell everybody about who you're voting for. That's words from my father. He also included in that, don't ever ask a man if he loves his wife. And I'm not 100% sure on all of that. why that one was thrown in there. To be real honest, I'm not. That was one that was thrown in there. But how much you make was also one of them that was thrown in there. And he said it's nobody else's business how much you make. Nobody else's business. Don't talk about it. Talk about it to your boss. That's it. And we do not live in that world anymore. Not on either side of that world. And so, us making wages something that was up for communal debate is actually going to put us into socialism and communism. Because that's what it is when you want to dictate what other people make. So you got two choices. It's either you mind your own damn business and not worry what the burger flipper's making and you pay your $8 for your burger. Or you demand that that guy flipping your burgers live in the streets the entire time he's busting his ass working for your burger. See, it's one or the other. We got to make a choice. If we want the country back that we had before, we have to be willing to literally and figuratively pay for it. There's no other way. You can't get there any other way. You know, that's the most mind-blowing thing when political parties talk about economy, because neither one's got an answer. The left is coming up with all kinds of free money everywhere. I have no idea how the hell that works. Apparently it doesn't work very well, though. And then you've got the right thinking that everybody but them should be working for, like, literal peanuts on the floor that they have to shell themselves for food, right? I mean, that's almost what it seems like the right expects out of the working man at this point. Man and woman. Sorry, I didn't mean to exclude anybody. It's crazy. You know, we have to wake up out of this. Otherwise, socialism and communism is what's on the plate for dinner. I mean, there's no other way. You've got both political parties demanding socialism and communism. There's no way we're not going there. No way we're not going there. A lot of people just don't think about it that way. Why? Well, because their talking heads don't give them those talking points. So unfortunately, the sheeple don't pick up on it. Anyway, and yeah, they are included in sheeple if they're participating in that type of activity and not realizing what they're doing. That is pretty much the damn definition of it, right? Again, as I said, I'm honest and I'm direct. Why? Because we're all supposed to be. EU support for Ukraine will wane, says bloc members president. And I've been warning about this. You're going to see this both with the EU and the UK. You're going to see countries that are like, I don't know anymore. You're going to see a lot of that. Ukraine should aim to regain as much territory as it can from Russia before the end of the year, as it may now have a second chance at a counteroffensive, Czech President Petr Pavel has warned. Look, homie, they ain't got a chance the first time, or the second, or the third, or the fourth. They ain't got a chance, homie. I mean, has anybody really thought about this? I didn't even have to think about it very much. And I see a country, Ukraine, frickin' Russia, right? A little country, frickin' Russia, and people are acting like, oh, Ukraine can totally do it. And next thing you know, I'm seeing Rob Schneider or whatever, right? Adam Sandler movie going, you can do it, right? And, but they failed. Telling you, see, earlier you let me go too far down that hill. That snowball got too big and I can't reel in the nonsense now. All right, next story. Russia warns U.S. about cluster bombs. Coffee. Says if Washington makes good on its promise to send cluster munitions to Kiev, I would say too late, homie. The Russian military will use its own diverse arsenal on the battlefield, Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu said, or Shoigu, I guess, on Tuesday. If the U.S. supplies cluster munitions to Ukraine, the Russian armed forces will be compelled to use equivalent weapons against Ukrainian forces by way of response, Shoigu told reporters while visiting military factories in Tatarstan. It should be noted that Russia has cluster munitions, as they say, for all occasions, Shoigu added. They are much more effective than American ones. Their range is broader and more diverse. I wonder if they got some bouncing Bettys, because some bouncing Bettys would work nice there. Just like the U.S. and Ukraine, Russia is not a party to the Convention of Cluster Munitions, Shoigu noted. However, Moscow has refrained from using its arsenal during the current conflict, cognizant of the threat that such ammunition poses to the civilian population. And this is what blows my mind. No pun intended. By Ukraine putting them out there, they're actually putting Ukrainians at risk. Russia, these are nothing for Russia. They're nothing. They've got the equipment. They've got the equipment to avoid them. They've got the equipment to survive them. You know? They're putting Ukrainian people in harm's way needlessly because it's not going to help them when it comes to the war. I don't know how. You have to understand, these munitions are being scattered about the ground and people stumble onto them and boom. The thing is, Russia doesn't have to have a ground force like that. This isn't Vietnam. Even then, if you had air superiority, you probably weren't going to need all the ground pounders. Not as much. And when I say ground pounders, I mean on their feet. I'm not talking about inside of equipment. It just doesn't make sense on a tactical level. It doesn't make sense on a civilian casualty level. I don't know. There's a lot of the ways that they're dealing with this that just kind of doesn't make sense. Sometimes I look at it honestly and I ask myself, is like United States giving Russia Ukraine but just trying to make it look good? Because to me all of this is nonsense. And all these countries that keep, you can do it, I don't know where the hell, what they're smoking, man, but key me in on some of that, because holy hell. Anyway. Coffee. Vape. I don't know what the deal is. She's been a little weak. I looked this up the other day, and I was actually gonna. I think I was gonna say something, and I think I forgot. I got this thing in 2020. Not just this one. I've got it's got a twin. I got another one identical. And I got this in 2020. Now, what's amazing about that? This is the first mod that I've had that's made it past like 6 months. The only other mod that I've had that's made it that long was my first mod. I kid you not. My first mod. And for those long-time vapors out there, don't laugh too hard when I say lava tube. And I've still got it, and the damn thing works. It's not in as good a shape as it was. When I say it works, you know what I mean by that, right? Because it's a piece of crap. It functions. It doesn't work. It functions. Anyway, so that has lasted me all this time. But none of the other mods would make it like really past about 6 months or so. And I've got like 3 years on this Aegis Legend. And I mean, I've got the finish worn off. Hang on. I'm going to point out the finish and then also look at where my palm goes. I'll point out the finish and where my palm goes. You'll see how bad a shape it is. There we go. I had to get it in the light just right so you can see it. But yeah, you can see there's like, it reminds you of Willie Nelson's guitar. The guitar that Willie Nelson has that like he's played for so long, his fingers have actually worn holes where the pickguard is. Yeah, it's kind of like Willie Nelson's guitar. My palm is worn off the finish and that's pretty crazy, man. But this thing, it still works like it did brand new. Unbelievable. So if you're a vapor and you're wondering what a good mod is, I am telling you, you cannot go wrong with the Geek Vape. Geek Vape's the company. Aegis Legend. There is a Legend 2 I saw. I'd like to check one of those out sometime. There is a Legend 2. And there's also, I think, a Legend Solo. Something like that takes a single 18650 battery. So, I'm telling you though, Geek Vape, they made some killer mods. That's incredible. And like I said, I've got another one identical to this, still sealed in the plastics, never been used or even opened. Because when I bought this, I actually already knew what it was. Because there was a video out there in YouTube land where they take one of these, and I mean, they're like pitching it to each other and hitting it with a baseball bat. They ran over it with a car. They did all kinds of stupid, crazy stuff to this thing. And it wasn't a company that was doing it. It was somebody independent doing it because they just, I mean, these things are just tanks. They're amazing. Anyway, you're not here for that, I don't think. France, though, is going to be sending long-range missiles to Ukraine. Well, if they're built like this sumbitch, watch out Russia, but I doubt that. It says France will supply long-range missiles to Ukraine to prop up its ongoing... Oh, wait, you guys aren't there. Now you're there. France will, ongoing counteroffensive. President Emmanuel Macron has announced in May the UK became the first country to ship this type of weaponry to Kiev. Speaking ahead of the NATO summit in Vilnius, Lithuania on Tuesday, Macron said he had made the decision to increase weapons and equipment deliveries to Ukraine to allow them to strike deep into enemy territory. He added that Paris would continue to stick to its policy of assisting Ukraine in defending its territory. Last week, French Foreign Minister Catherine Colonna told the media that Paris was planning to boost military support for Ukraine with particular focus on artillery and air defense systems. The diplomat stressed that France was determined to fulfill this commitment. So, you heard it. I mean, they say it right themselves, and this is the mind-blowing thing to me. When all of this started out, they were like, oh, we're not going to send them anything whatsoever that could even in any way be construed as offensive weapons. We're not going to give them any weapons that they could actually strike into Russia with, right? And now they're like, well, yeah, here, take this, and here, have some of these too. How much longer is it going to be before Russia says, you know what, gay Paris? Why don't you take a Kinzhal up the keister and take out that big old damn tower and call it a day? How much longer do you think it's going to be before that happens? They keep sending, I'll tell you what, I think it'll happen pretty damn quick if Ukraine actually really gets a good hit in. Let's say hypothetically that Ukraine got one hell of a shot in on Moscow, and they only were able to do so because of, say, weapons that France supplied them. It's only a matter of time before Russia says, you know what, enough's enough. And the moment that happens, and believe me, Russia knows this, and I believe Russia's preparing for this. I think that Russia's probably quite already prepared for this. Russia knows at the moment that they take that strike, what's going to happen next. Russia's been and I'm sorry to say this, but it's a fact. Russia has been a step or more ahead of this the entire way. The entire way. Economically, of course with the combat, but economically, any way you could imagine, Russia's been ahead of the game. If you don't think they're ahead of the game on the NATO involvement, I'd say you need to think it through a little bit more. I think they're well prepared for it. In fact, I think at this point, I think Putin expects it. So, and again, is this all a dog and pony show? Is this a circus sideshow? Is U.S. and Russia actually working together to dissolve Ukraine? Right? They got to do... I couldn't tell you, and you couldn't tell me either. So, there's so much crazy going on in the world. Well, and then, this right here, I just shared it out. I'm sitting there and I was talking and I just shared it out. I just put out this article. Military aid to Ukraine makes World War III more likely, says ex-Russian president. It's exactly what I'm saying. That is exactly what I'm saying. Perfect timing. So in another part of the world that we keep sticking our damn nose in, North Korea warns of shocking consequences for U.S. spy planes. Now, of course, they recently used the word shocking when it came to South Korea and the U.S. With all the military drills and the talk of moving nuclear weapons, submarines anyway, on a rotational schedule to South Korea. Once again, that word's being used. Says Kim Yo-jong, one of North Korea's top foreign policy officials, claimed in a Monday statement that Pyongyang had warded off a U.S. spy plane and said that there would be shocking repercussions should Washington continue reconnaissance operations close to its territory. Kim, who is sister of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, claimed in a strongly worded statement issued via Pyongyang's KCNA news agency on Monday that the U.S. spy aircraft had strayed within the boundaries of North Korea's Eastern Exclusive Economic Zone. In the statement, Kim said that the presence of a U.S. aircraft detection inside the DPRK's 200 nautical mile economic zone represented a grave encroachment upon the sovereignty and security of North Korea. She added that Pyongyang's warplanes were scrambled to chase off the U.S. aircraft. And then that pretty much, it says the political stare-down comes amid increased tensions between North Korea and the United States after the nuclear-armed nation increased its opposition to U.S. involvement in affairs on the Korean Peninsula in the wake of an uptick of military drills involving Washington and its key ally in the region, South Korea. So, there he stated, continued United States reconnaissance would incite a shocking incident in an area where U.S. biplanes habitually intrude into the sky above the economic water zone of the DPRK. She further commented on Tuesday that the U.S. forces will experience a very critical flight should the intrusions continue. And I do believe that if anybody's got the balls to do it, old little rocket man, he'll make it happen. What will the response be? Nothing. I'll place a bet. I'm not a betting man because I can't be a betting man. But I'll just betcha. I'll bet you that the United States doesn't do nothing. That Kim Jong-un can plop a drone out of the sky and it'd be another day. Why? Because we're already pretty far stretched. and our focus really isn't there. That's not knocking our drone out of the sky is not enough reason to reallocate troops to be able to deal with that situation in light of a festering situation in Ukraine and a possible festering situation with Taiwan. How many battlefronts could we possibly face at one time? I don't know, but I have a feeling that they're going to try to find out. Seriously, I have a feeling, because I think the moment that NATO and or U.S. gets involved in any one of these issues, I think the world's going to go up. And I don't necessarily mean in a nuclear mushroom cloud. I'm not saying that. I'm saying in combat, as in a literal world war. And I think it's going to be ugly. I think it's going to make the previous world wars look nice. Because we didn't have near the type of logistics. We didn't have near the type of weapons. And just the logistics alone is a massive game changer. Everybody is on the board for everybody else at this point. And that's the way you have to look at it. That wasn't the case then. It would have been a hell of a lot harder in World War II or even Vietnam for them to strike us on the mainland here. It would have been very hard to hit these lower 48. It's not so much anymore. Not even close. China makes suggestion on Fukushima discharges, and I have to absolutely 110% agree with China's stance here. It says Beijing has responded to the UN nuclear watchdog's controversial support for plans by Japan to dump contaminated wastewater from the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant into the Pacific Ocean by arguing that those who believe the water is safe should drink it and swim in it. Well, I would like to offer up the first group of swimmers. They could be found at, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. And then there's a big-ass Congress building somewhere. I don't know. You're going to be getting, you can take a lot of people with them. So you don't have to just stick to those that have been duly elected. You can also take their minions, too. And let them go swim in it. Let us know how the water feels. Biden be like, do I get to take ice cream? Yeah, and you get to sniff kids again. Oh, I'm going. You gonna invite Epstein again? He's dead, Joe. Oh. I do terrible impressions. They're not even impressions. They're like, hey, that guy's talking like an idiot. All right. Let's see. I say we do some headlines, and we boogie on out, and I get to bed. Trash was taken out early today by demand of a dog. I'm not joking on that anyway. Not even remotely. Jen went in there and tied the trash bag up. And as soon as Blue heard that trash bag getting tied up, because she knows what it sounds like and she knows what that means, boy, she was up and in there. Well, I'm the one that normally does it. So she was up and in there and looking at Jen like, what the hell? And looking at me like, what the hell? And I'm like, yeah, we're going to do trash. And all of a sudden, all the waggy tail, big smile from ear to ear. It's a big deal here. Taking the trash out and retrieving the cans are both very, very big weekly events here at our household. So, amazingly big. The Muppet Masters. Let's see. I need another drink of coffee. I think my coils are starting to go. I couldn't tell you the last time I made coils for this thing. Gosh. I think I made a video on it. I think. It's been a while. I normally just burn them clean and re-wick them with cotton and good to go. Another 50,000 miles. Alright. Speaking of that, I've got to re-wick my pod. I totally didn't do that on purpose. I have to re-wick my pod here because it's starting to taste nasty. Probably do that maybe tomorrow. And then I'll be vaping pink Starburst out of that bad boy. Not the stuff I make, but stuff that I had bought like years ago. Okay. I know you're also interested in that. Abortion dispute leaves U.S. Marines without a leader. Wouldn't he have never became a leader if he was aborted? I'm confused. Hang Macron singer rejects incitement accusations. Mayor resigns over stupid memes. Let's see. I love cats like that. The reason why is because I like winning them over. I got away with animals. Anti-Russian sanctions spooking countries into repatriating gold reserves, says Reuters. And there's people that have me do things with their pets that their pets won't let them do. But yet I can't clip Blue's nails. So, it's I don't know. You try holding on to that damn thing. All you have to do is say the word nail clippers, and she's had one nail clipped by me one time. One time. And that was the end of that shit. Freaked her out, and if you even mentioned the word, she will get up and go hide. Unbelievable. That's probably what she's getting ready to go flip out over now, because I mentioned it several times. Let's see. Political row in Chinese tech giants billions. Political row cost Chinese tech giants billions, says Bloomberg. Sorry, I screwed up the headline. Let's see. Member state calls on NATO to abandon key agreement with Russia. Russian trade with Gulf countries soars, says Lavrov. Nearly half of polls against Ukrainian NATO membership, says survey. France to send... Oh, I covered that. FBI colluded with Ukraine in social media crackdown, says lawmakers. A Russian mining giant to delist from London. West blamed for Ukraine's counteroffensive shortfall. Oh, I'm sure. NATO chief fudges Ukraine membership bid. Cuba points finger at U.S. for unrest. Security chief offers explanation for lack of NATO invitation to Ukraine. Kremlin tells Turkey to wise up about EU. Zelensky attacks NATO. That's the most mind-blowing part of all of this, is how he talks to all the countries that are giving them billions of dollars in support. It's unbelievable. Most Germans, you know who it reminds me of? And I don't even, know the guy at all on any kind of a personal level, but just from what I can gather, Vladimir Zelensky is another Hunter Biden. Abso-freaking-lutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. Maybe that's why Biden, I don't know, maybe old Vladimir reminds Joe about his just wonderous son, Hunter. Kissinger falls victim to Russian pranksters posing as Zelensky. Most Germans dissatisfied with government, says a poll. U.S. explains why Ukraine can't join NATO now. EU support for Ukraine will wane. Oh, I covered that one. NATO agrees stance on Ukraine membership. Trump seeks trial delay until after 2024 vote. North Korea I covered that one. France and Germany pledge to revitalize long-stalled joint tank venture. Putin to visit China in October, says media. Boris Johnson welcomes latest child. I wonder if that was, it wouldn't have been during the lockdowns. Finland's deputy PM apologizes for racist comments. Hungarian PM makes Ukraine proposal. Biden administration indicts whistleblower. Taliban praises Twitter for freedom of speech. Well, isn't that special? Trump slams Biden's over cluster bombs for Ukraine. U.S. Senator slams Kiev's NATO demands. Lots of slamming going on. West pushes neo-colonial agenda on world stage, says Lavrov. Well, at least they weren't slapping nobody or slamming anybody. Beijing signs controversial pact with Solomon Islands. White House greenlights troubled arms deal with Turkey. Yeah, like a bunch of F-16s and stuff. China, and see, that's what Turkey's doing. I've been saying that for a long damn time. Turkey has been playing every damn side they can. They have been for quite a while now. I think Syria does too, if I'm not mistaken. China makes suggestion. Oh, I covered that one. Military aid to Ukraine makes World War III. Oh, that was actually the one I read a minute ago. That's it. We are done with the headlines. That was kind of quick. Anywho, I am gonna boogie out the door. Oh wait, we got another one up there. Oh wow, this is actually breaking news. North Korea fires ballistic missiles, says Seoul. So this is breaking right now. North Korea launched a ballistic missile into the Sea of Japan on Wednesday. South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff said the reported show of force comes after Pyongyang had accused the U.S. of flying a spy aircraft over its exclusive economic zone. So that is breaking. I'm actually going to be tweeting that out right this moment. And that's that. So I'm going to get out of here before we have more breaking news. Anyway, I hope you all have a good evening. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. I appreciate you coming tonight. I hope to see you again tomorrow. And as always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.